Hi, this is my first time making a video like this, so, I just hope that it comes out halfway decently, and I just hope you enjoy. Thank you. I've always enjoyed the mini documentary style of videos. Basically, all these videos are is someone who has done extensive research on a topic of any kind, then created a script along with a visual video that includes clips related to the topic. I put some of my recent favorites on screen if you want to go look some up after this. These types of videos are usually no longer than an hour, yet I still feel they are very informative, engaging, and in my opinion, relaxed in a sense. I've always wanted to attempt one, but I've never had a topic or reason till this assignment to try. I know I could have just made a slideshow presentation, but I wanted to get my point across in a more creative and educational way. The subject of discussion my group and I had selected was the topic of the Roma people. But who are the Roma people? In the beginning, the Roma lived in India and were people of multiple religions such as Catholic, Muslim, Protestant, and Baptist. However, they began to disperse from the land for many reasons, such as droughts and the caste system that was in place at the time. From there, the dispersion led to Roma spreading all across Europe. Fast forward to today, and this is still the case with Roma making up anywhere from 7 to 10% of the population in some countries. An example quite similar to this is actually one we had learned in class. The mass immigration that is presented in Travel Agents on Trial by Chicago professor Tara Zara is in some aspects similar. On page 8 of the reading, Zara writes, numbers alone offer some clue as to how and why immigration became a burning social and political question in late imperial Austria. In the first decade of the 20th century, 1 in 10 citizens, 5 million people, left the empire. The largest number of migrants departed from impoverished Australian provinces of Galicia and Bukovina, and from southern and eastern Hungary. Described villages that became ghost towns overnight, stoking fears of a military eviscerated by immigration. Entire regiments left in 1907 in order to earn money in America. Since now we all have a brief understanding of who the Roma people are, I would like to shift the discussion to the real main point of this video. That being how the Roma have been blatantly ignored and how these issues still follow them not only in Europe, but in the US today. The Roma people have faced discrimination and abuse ever since they began to disperse throughout Europe. However, nothing has been done about it as it continues to be conducted in contemporary society. A Hungarian writer associated with Euractiv, Vladimir Maximo, brings up recent data about the living conditions of the Roma people. According to the article, it says, Fundamental Rights Agency, the FRA, interviewed almost 4,700 people in the Roma travelers community in 6 Western European countries. 45% felt discriminated against in at least one area of life in the previous year. 44 experienced hate-motivated harassment in the preceding year, while 7% were physically attacked, but the majority did not report neither harassment nor the physical attacks. Not to interrupt my own video or anything, but I wanted to put this video in the middle of this because it was almost going to be like a surprise almost, but when I was thinking about it in editing, I didn't want to like stress anybody out or cause like any issues, so just a heads up, the next video is kind of not graphic, but a little intense.
This is a life, a Roma life. In most countries, you're called a gypsy. Over hundreds of years, the Roma have faced discrimination, exclusion, and violence. They are one of Europe's largest minorities, up to 10 million across the continent. That's as many people as there are in Greece, or Sweden, or Switzerland. As a Roma, you're born into discrimination. The healthcare your mother got probably wasn't as good as a non-Roma woman. Your chance of dying during birth is higher than a non-Roma, and your life expectancy is generally lower. You will get a substandard education, possibly segregated from other children in a class for those with learning difficulties or mental disabilities. And that's if you go to school at all. Roma children are far less likely to attend school than other children, and many drop out due to bullying. When you're older, you won't have much chance of getting a good job. Your education works against you, discrimination does the rest. You may end up selling scrap metal or calling door to door looking for jobs. You won't live in a nice house. Lots of communities won't want you near them. People may not want to rent to you. You may live in a settlement where there's no running water or electricity. It will be hard to keep yourself or your house clean. You may have to get used to insects, rats and mice. All your life you may face hostility, violence and discrimination. You may even be forced to leave your country. And with no chance to change, if you have children, for them, the cycle will start again. If this was your life, wouldn't you want to change it? The Roma do. If you want to know more or help to stop this discrimination, please visit our website.
This is not the end, however. More examples can be found in a tract from a source named The Article, which was put together by David Hutt. In this article, he denotes, one EU study in 2016 found that employment rates for the Roma have almost half the level of the general population in Central and Eastern Europe. Alongside this, another study discovered that 29% of Romani children in Bulgaria and a quarter in Slovakia attend schools where all other classmates are Romani. The regional average of Romani aged 16 to 24 without jobs or training rose from 56% in 2011 to 63% in 2016. With no place of welcome and no place to return, the Roma have nowhere to live. With no way to get work and no way to educate themselves, the Roma will have nothing. Continuing on, the Roma situation is not just a European issue, it also translates to being here in the US. A report derived from Open Democracy, composed by Margareta Matache and Jacqueline Bahaba, remarks, major targets of American racism, African Americans, Indigenous, and Latino populations may have overlooked discrimination against a much smaller minority, the U.S. American Roma. Many Romani people arrived in the U.S. between the late 19th and early 20th century. However, that did not stop racial slurs being thrown their way. One term that is mainly used is gypsy, and in fact, in South Dakota, they actually have a day named Gypsy Days Parade, reportedly being the annual parade that is the largest in South Dakota. Anti-Roma conduct is experienced across the United States. Romani Americans have long been rated as having the lowest social standing among the ethnic groups in the U.S. A 2020 study entitled Romani Realities in the United States by the FXB Center for Health and Human Rights at Harvard University and Voice of Roma, an American nonprofit organization, says almost 80% of the 363 Romani Americans who took part in the study reported that Americans discriminated against people of Romani heritage. This is not just an issue overseas, it is also an issue that has been in our homeland for a very long time that goes ignored. I know throughout this video I've kind of thrown a lot of negative information out there in regards to the Roma people, but that's not really the way I want to end this video, because obviously I can sit here and talk all day about bad things, but I would rather leave you on a more positive note. An organization known as Community Care actually has an article that has been written by a woman named Mary Marvel. In this article, she talks about basically Roma organizations that are currently in progress of helping Roma people. If you want to do any of your own personal research, the names of the organizations are Roma Support Group, Roma Community Care, and Clifton Learning Partnership, I believe. What these organizations basically do is they are local authority professionals that help Roma families get access to academics, legal experts, and just address problems and improve access to everything for Roma families. Another organization that I actually saved for last because I feel like they are making the most impact is called UNICEF, UNICEF. Basically, what UNICEF is, if you look on their website, it says UNICEF helps to link Roma children and their families to services to which they are entitled. Our support for home visiting programs informs new parents about and connects them with health, early childhood development, education, social protective services. In a number of countries, including Serbia, Roma health mediators, trusted and trained professionals from Roma communities, provide a bridge between community services in which they are entitled. I personally think this is one of the best programs that I have done research on. The reason being is that they are attacking issues at the source. If they are able to provide a better life for the current generation, in my eyes, that being the Roma children, the generations that come afterwards will just have better footsteps to follow in.